we're going to go ahead and put a handle on our cups. If you need a review of how to make the cups, please go to the lesson before this in the playlist. Remember, you can also copy your objects by hitting Edit, Duplicate, or Control D, and then make other objects with them using the Scale tool. So I made this one larger and made a bowl. And then afterwards, I actually squished it down and made a plate. I did a Control D for both of those. Click on your cylinder, and then in the top view, draw next to it so that it's the proper width. One, make sure that your object is about, I would say, the height of your cup plus about a third more. Mine's a little taller, so I'll go ahead and shrink that down. And then afterwards, I also want to go either to this polycylinder one where I adjusted that height, or I can go to the attribute editor and go to the polycylinder 1 tab. And if I want it to bend on the height, I need to add height subdivision heights. I'm going to put about 10 in. That usually bends pretty nicely. When that happens, you'll see the divisions of your object change. Now, go ahead and using the Scale tool, smush your cylinder down. With the object still selected, go to Deform. Because we are going to deform the object, we're going to bend it and squish it. Nonlinear, and Bend. Select the box. And just in case you've used this tool before, I want you to go to Reset Settings. In Maya, every time you want a project or an operation to reset to the default, that's what you need to do. Go to Edit, Reset Settings. I'm going to put my curvature at about 80 and hit Create. Now it created a bend reference here, and as you can see, the object bent along the path. I made mine a little too big, but if I try to scale it, you'll notice that it actually scales the object on the path. So that bend line it will make it larger or smaller on that bend line. This can create some really cool growing effects and allow you to morph some objects, but for our purposes, this doesn't work very well. To be able to scale it without using the bend, you have to get rid of that bend history. To do that, go to Edit, Delete by Type, History, with the object selected. You'll notice some of these tabs in the attribute editor vanish, and they're no longer in this stack. You only have P cylinder shape 1. Now you can scale it accordingly. So I can either rotate my object or rotate this to make it fit. And if I want to make sure that's an exact number, I can go over to the channel box and change it to an increment of 90. So my closest here is 180. There we go. Now I have 3 ways I can attach this. If I know without a shadow of a doubt that this is exactly what I want my object to look like. I checked, it's not penetrating, not having any weird issues, it's exactly the right size. I can click on both objects or drag select over them and go to Mesh, Combine. This will make them one solid object. If I'm not sure that it's exact, I think it is, but I may want to be able to change it later, I can select them and go to Edit, Group. This means that both objects still exist, and I can get rid of them by going to Ungroup, or get rid of that combination by going to Ungroup. And now I can select them individually again. The third way is if I want one object to follow the other, but them to not always be connected. I can click on the outliner, which is right here, and then link this handle. Now, right now it's called P-Cylinder 1. So once you've modeled all the objects in your scene, I would like you to be able to double click them, either in here, or go to that attribute editor, and under P-Cylinder, it says P-Cylinder Shape 1. Here's where you change the name. So I'm changing this to Handle 1. And as you see, I've already changed my other names. So this is Cup 1, Cup 2, Bowl, and Plate. Now, I can click the middle mouse button and drag it up. If I want it linked with Cup 1, I would drag it until I got a plus over Cup 1, and now it's linked on the bottom. That means that if I move the cup, the handle comes with it. But since this is a parent-child relationship, the child is supposed to do what the parent does, but the parent doesn't need to do what the child does. So if I click the handle, it moves independently. If I then click the cup again, they'll move together.